It's a bit more a refreshing day today. It's overcast and we've had rain through night. And we definitely needed it. It's been way too close over this weekend. And that little bit of rain through night makes all the difference to your plants. They all of a sudden seem to pick back up and explode into life. Everything just seems to look that much better. We haven't been down to that container garden so far this week. And in that container garden we've got a tin bath full of onions. And Maria asked me on a previous video how that was actually getting on. So we'll have a walk down to that container garden and we'll find out exactly how that tin bath full of onions is doing. Just before we head down to that container garden to see how that's getting on, I just want to say thank you very much to Wayne O'Dwyer, who's made a donation to the channel. As always, massively appreciated and very helpful to help us keep making these daily videos. We'll make sure that that donation is put to good use back into this channel. So thank you very much for that, Wayne. I really do appreciate your generosity. Wayne also follows our cooking channel as well. And he's finding it quite helpful because we're taking lots of produce from the garden and making videos to show you how to freeze and preserve that produce. So we can keep that harvest going way after the season finishes. So I'm glad you're finding those videos useful, Wayne, as well. Because it's better to be able to pickle or freeze excess amounts of your produce rather than have to let it go to waste. So if you're not already part of the cooking channel, there's a link in the description. So maybe pop over there and hit that subscribe button because we have got another video going on there today and it's about rhubarb. So we're going to show you a really easy, quick way to cook rhubarb and then we're going to freeze it. So if you do get an excess of rhubarb, and I know a few people have said this year that they have, we're not going to have to waste any. So maybe I'll see you all on cooking channel a bit later on today. But between now and then, once again, thank you very much, Wayne. I really appreciate that gesture. Let's go and check these plants out. Well, we're back down to that container garden and you can see straight away just how much growth that strawberry tower's put on again. We've had loads of strawberries off it as well. And now we're starting to get a few berries coming as well. They're golden raspberry, those ones. So we've got one or two starting to come now. And we've got some red raspberry here. So far, we haven't got anything on this, but it's put on a lot of growth, so I'm sure that's coming. While we're down here, I've been looking at this container. We've been taking French beans from these dwarf ones, but we took virtually all of them off last time. And I think these plants, or at least some of them, have now finished. So, I think we ought to take a couple out. There's no flowers on these plants at all now. And they're starting to get chewed. So I'm going to take some of these out. In fact, what I should have done is cut them out and left those roots in. But if I take a couple out today, it is going to give these plants a bit of breathing space. I don't think we'll need this in here no more either. Let's have a look, see if there's anything on. There's nothing on this plant either. So again, I'll break this one off. And we'll leave roots in there in case they expel any nitrogen for us. Just giving us a little bit more space at the same time. Because I can see that some of the tomato leaves are suffering a bit. That one's got a few on it. This one has got one on it. So just take away the ones that aren't really doing anything. Like this one. Got a tiny one on it, but not a deal. So we'll break that off as well. That's cleared us a nice bit of space up now. We can give that a little weed while we're here. I think what we'll do is take those ties off these plants and let them come back this way now. away from those tomatoes, give them a bit of breathing space. So we've took a few of those plants away. That's a bit more space for those cherry tomatoes to grow. But it's this what Maria was asking about. This old tin bath that we did quite early in here. I made lots of holes in the bottom of this old bath, and then we filled it with onion sets and a few onions that were grown from seed and multi-sown, and it seems to be doing alright. We've got some good sized onions in here, that one in particular. Difficult to see, but there are some good sized onions in this. And those multi-sown ones are all starting to come now. So far so good in there. We're just going to wait until every single one falls over and then see if they grow any bigger. Meanwhile, we've still got a lot of salad on go. That's those beetroot leaves that we harvested, and we cut them right back like that. And now they've all started to grow back. So again, ready for another harvest. And we've got loads of flowers on as peppers now. We've got the start of a pepper just there. But they're really starting to fill out, these plants now. I might have to move these into a bigger container. We've got loads of carrots and containers full of onions, all different types as well. I think they're white Lisbon, so they're just spring onions. But I have noticed we've had a few volunteer plants in these onion containers. Some carrots that's come up. So look what these are as well. They're more white Lisbons. So a couple of containers of spring onions looking really healthy. And there's another couple of peppers. And this one has also got a little pepper growing on it, which is definitely good to see. That little finger carrot container, it's gone a bit crazy and all. I think we might have to thin this one out. Can't wait to harvest these onions. Florence, red onions. And you can see how long they've got now. So they're doing exactly what they say on packet. Take some of this old foliage away while I'm here. It makes them look a bit tidier. That one's slightly gone over a bit. Just trying to keep these containers clean as things are growing. We don't want anything smothering us onions. So yeah, they're looking really well, those are. So far so good with these dwarf tomato plants. We've got some little tomatoes growing on them. And they seem to be holding their own for now anyway. That's those three that we put in a little container. Unfortunately, I think it might be too small now, so we might have to harvest that for leaf lettuce. I'll show you why. I've also put 3 of those romaine lettuce in this container, and although they're doing what they're supposed to do, they're absolutely massive. I didn't think they'd get this big. Do it really taking one of those out, because we've also got a cucumber plant in there and I don't want it to get choked. I didn't realise how big these plants got, but still, what an amazing amount of lettuce from a little container. Got a few more flowers that's come up at this side of the garden as well, which is brilliant. Everything's starting to put some nice growth on now. And we hadn't looked at these sweet peas for quite a while. If you remember, I put those in a month or so ago, There was tiny little plants that we put down bottom of this fence. And now they're all growing and they're coming into flower. We just need to keep pinning those back a bit. There's a bit of a net in there, so when we push them backwards sometimes they just grab hold themselves. If not, we'll put a bit of string around to encourage that and push them closer to that netting. That's the back of that container with that cucumber in, and we've got a couple of nice cucumbers on there now, and now the third one growing as well. But that's the original one. I mean, that's basically at a point where I could harvest it, but I do actually have one in fridge, so I'm going to leave that for now. But that's why I'm thinking about taking one of these romaine lettuces out, just to give everything a bit of breathing space. I don't want this plant getting choked out. At least it's a bit more cooler today to walk around the garden. We've had some rain overnight, which has helped bring these plants on a bit as well. I have noticed that this courgette keeps dropping fruit. If you look, there's one down there on the floor. We keep getting us fruits to that stage, and there's nothing wrong with them, and we're still getting good flowers. But then they're starting to go yellow, like this one, and then this happens. They just fall off. I've never grown these type of courgettes before, but for some reason on every single one so far that's happened. They start off really nice and green like those, then they turn yellow, and as you just saw firsthand, we only touched it and it fell off. If anybody's got an answer to that, I'd be interested to know. I think for now I'm going to move that. I'm going to put it there where it gets a bit more sun. See if it does any better. Next to us parsley, which has put on loads and loads of growth now, which is brilliant. I've got a few more containers that we've brought down. These are new ones that we've done. So we've got some more carrot there. That's those round Paris Market ones that we're trying again. Some pickling onions and a little bit of spinach that always seems to struggle at this time of year. And these potatoes, so far so good with those. Can't see any spotting on leaves like those other ones we had. I can't wait to harvest these blueberries. We're getting loads and loads this year. Just not ripe enough yet. And behind it we've got that gooseberry plant. Quite a lot of fruit on that as well. And it's starting to put on some more growth. And as March 2 peas are still trying. Right at top of that trellis now. And we've got a few more pods to harvest as well. We'll get those sorted out today. Fresh mint. Lovely. You can't beat that smell of fresh homegrown mint. And this is doing really well. A nice bit of an harvest to come off this. We've got so many things growing in this container garden now. That's a sweet million. Cherry tomato plant. Again, lots and lots of tomatoes coming on this. No discoloration to leaves on this plant, thankfully. And that's just in quite a small container. And the plant's around about 4 foot tall now. I think this is getting ready for an harvest as well. 3 onion sets we put in a very small container. What they're looking about ready to harvest. We've got another pepper growing on this plant as well. That's the other side of that container we've just been thinning out. There's a plant at the front here as well. I don't know whether to take this one out. In fact, I think I will. I can't see anything on it. And it is a little bit in way of these tomatoes, which are now definitely starting to put a lot more growth on. So I don't want to interfere with their growth, waiting for a small harvest after we've had loads already, because we've got loads of cherry tomatoes on here. So we need to concentrate on these now. This container we set up, we put loads and loads of sweet bell peppers in it, just to see how they do. To be honest, they're not doing bad. That is the biggest pepper we've got on any of his plants. And it's only in quite a shallow container. Right next to it, there's another one. We have got a bit of slug damage. Take that off. But it's definitely working. Moving down, very small plant there. You can see how small that plant is. But look right on the side of it. Look how big that pepper is on a tiny little plant. That's amazing. So something's happening with this, and I don't care if I get tiny little bell peppers, I'll take those. This container, I think, is coming to an end now. I think we're going to take all the rest of these little onions out, and the lettuce seems to be struggling in this one. Getting quite a bit of yellow in it, leaves. So we'll have to thin this out a little bit. There is plenty of new growth in the centre, but it's been struggling for some reason. And normally they don't struggle, these plants. But we have got carrots in there as well. And this carrot container is also putting out a lot of yellow leaves now. So I'm not sure whether it's time we had a look inside this one at some point this week. I think we probably will. Hanging basket with one cherry tomato plant in it. It's a very small plant, but it's getting loads and loads of tomatoes on it. So that's brilliant. Same with this one, slightly bigger container. Lots and lots of fruit on it. Can't wait to start getting some homegrown cherry tomatoes. And then we've got this container, and we've put more of those dwarf French beans in it. And now those others are coming to an end, we're starting to get an harvest from these, which is really good. Quite a few on that plant already. I've got even more containers of onions. We've got loads and loads of these, but why not? That one needs moving. It's getting a bit buried. It's not doing it no good at all, as you can see. I'll move that somewhere else today. Because we've also got some Savoy cabbages here in containers. Now starting to fold up to make those cabbages. And they're only in 10 and 15 litre pots. But the thing that's gone crazy in this container garden is this container potato. You can't see the tub at all. The growth is huge. It's down here somewhere. That's the container. That's a 40 litre container we've put this one in. And I'm not sure what it is. There is a label in there somewhere, which I'm going to have to find out. I'll do that later. But how amazing does that look? I'm hoping we're going to get loads of potatoes out of that. So that's an update on this container garden this week. And you can see everything's doing really good. And we're getting quite a lot of produce. And we've already had loads already. So there you have it. A full update on that container garden. A 12 foot by 12 foot space, which is absolutely packed with homegrown veg. As one thing comes to an end, we're also adding another to it. We've got some more containers that we're doing. This one has got some more Paris Market carrots in, so they'll be going down there to replace anything that's finished. I've still got this pepper in a container. We'll move that down there also. I've got a Jack Be Little miniature pumpkin plant. I don't know if you saw the video the other day where I shown you this plant, but since then it looks like it's doubled in size. It's only in a small container, so we're definitely going to have to work on that this week. Maybe we'll put that in that container garden as well and feed it up some trellis. I've got more cauliflowers in little containers like that, which eventually will move on into bigger ones. Like you can see, we've already done down there with those Savoy cabbages. And I've got yet another tomato plant in a 10-litre pot. I'm trying to keep that container garden going for as long as possible, and as soon as there's the smallest gap that I can put something else in, I'll do that to keep it as full as possible right up until we get its first frosts. We've already took so many harvests from that area, and you can see that there's a lot more to come yet. So between now and then, we need to keep sowing more seeds to grow more salads especially. We can do those every other week, so we get that continuation of food. And if you've only got a smaller area to grow your plants in, it just shows you that that doesn't matter. The amount of things we've got growing in that area. We've got huge potato plants. We've got peppers, onions, potatoes, tomatoes. We've got a little bit of everything. So if you've not done it this year, maybe think about starting yourself a container garden so you can get yourself your own fresh, homegrown vegetables and save yourself a little bit of money in process. Anyway, that's me done for today out here, and now it's time to go back into the kitchen because we need to get that video done for a cooking channel, and that's going to be that rhubarb. So Wayne, if you're interested in that as well, we'll see you on that channel later on. And if you're not subscribed to this channel or the cooking channel, then all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we'll see you on next update. Take care.